green lights on. I should ask you all if you were ready. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Are y'all good? You ready? Okay, I apologize. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call to order the Nashville MTA board meeting. And first on it is our roll call. Jessica Dolphin. Catherine Hayes.
Present.
Jeff Haynes.
Present.
We are all accounted for. I know Mr. Thompson is traveling, but hopefully may be here in time. So first on our agenda, if I could have approval of the August 28th MTA board minutes.
Motion to approve? Mm-hmm. There's no, yeah, there we go.
And then there's a motion and a second. We're starting off wonderful today. I love it. I do. Any additions, deletions, questions, comments on the minutes? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have minutes. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda are public comments, and I have one card in front of me, and that is Peter O'Connor. Good afternoon, Mr. O'Connor.
Hello, everybody. First, I would like to say thank you for all the action that's going on with the bus shelters that I've been wanting to get going on up there by where I live at, although it's going to take a little time for everything to get completed, but at least I know things are happening, things are getting done. Excuse me. I also want to say thank you, and I'm sure that WeGo is working with Metro on that separate bus lane coming through the downtown area, which it looks to me like seems to be very effective, and the buses are taking much less time getting from Central down to the stop across from the Spermahorn. And so I know that there's other riders that are out feeling much more relief, knowing that they won't have to wait an hour to an hour and a half before a bus gets there. So thank you again, for these things. I'm sure I speak on behalf of many of the riders there, saying thank you. Although I was just speaking with Felix just a few minutes ago, the bus Route 6 during certain hours are more frequent, but still needs more frequency in the latter part of the afternoon hours. As people get off of work, a lot of people go do their errands, go shopping or whatever that they have to do, and then when they get done, find that they have to wait another hour before they can catch the next bus. Also, again, customer service still needs to be open until the last bus completes its run, so people can still call to get information. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have another card, and it is James Bristow, if I said that correctly. Thank you. Welcome.
I'm here today mainly because we have issues with certain supervisors downtown kicking people off for no reason. I was banned 2 times this week alone for nothing. Something needs to be done. I have filed complaints, and I'm on the edge of filing a complaint with Title VI over it. I do not believe she is fit for supervisor duty working with the general public, as she has an attitude. A lot of drivers have told me they do not like her because they're getting attitude from her for no reason. Other passengers have been kicked off for no reason by the same supervisor. I believe she is doing things discriminatory. I have been told by passengers, drivers, and other supervisors that she has a goal of kicking 20 people off a day which I know you guys can't do. The most recent incident I had with her was Tuesday morning, when all I was doing was walking back from Dunkin' Donuts, and she told me to get the F off the property. I hadn't done anything that morning. She accused me of cussing at her when I never did. Her name is Stephanie. I do not know what her last name is, but she is rude to everyone. I have heard numerous complaints from other passengers about her. I would like her to be fired, but I know that probably ain't gonna happen. If we can get her at least transferred where she's not dealing with the public, that would be appreciated. If there's anything else you guys need from me, I have filed 2 complaints yesterday. My number is on the complaint card. You guys can always reach out to me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. I do not have any other cards requesting to make a public comment. Is there anyone else wishing to make a public comment? Anyone else wishing to make one? Hearing no one request, that will close that section of our agenda. Next on our agenda is the information only items, and that is the monthly financial report compared to budget, the monthly operating statistics, and the upcoming procurement list. Would any of the board members like for any of those items to be removed from information only and have discussion? Hearing no request, I will continue to urge you all to, if you do have questions, to reach out to the staff member that has signed and prepared that report for our information. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda item, which is the resolution for fiscal year 2026 annual grant applications submitted by Billy Higgins. Would any board members like to make a motion on the consent agenda?
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
And do we have a second? And there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm glad to see us making these requests for grants.
Absolutely. With a motion and a second, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. Ms. Doffman, I'm going to turn this over to you for Operations and Finance Committee. You're going to be busy.
I know. Madam Chair, we have a busy Operations Finance Committee for you this afternoon. First up is a discussion of the annual pension overview. We're going to hear from Amanda Vandergrift, Deputy CEO.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member Dauphin. Good afternoon, Chair Williams and board members.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you all. So this is my first being in my role, annual pension overview, but something that you as board members see each year. And so for the new board members, I'm going to give a little bit, or a new board member, I'm going to give a little bit of background on the history of our pension that we offer to our employees, and then show you what the pension is looking like in terms of health this year. Now, thank you. On buttons are helpful. Okay, so just very high level history of our pension plan that we offer. We offer a private pension plan to all our employees. It began actually back in 1945, back when transit services that we provide today were provided by private companies. And in 1964, because of a legal requirement, we had to transition from private to public agencies to operate transit services. If you might know that history for various reasons why we are structured the way we are today. When that happened, our pension plan moved over and was assumed under this kind of unique arrangement between Nashville and Chattanooga. And then in 1989, that arrangement went over to just the DTO. It had a different name at the time, but the DTO that we have today, which is just Nashville and our ATU. In 1997 and 98, some interesting years of and decades of litigation had been occurring around the pension plan, all related to qualifying the plan as a governmental plan. There are a lot of benefits related to that. And as part of that, this board decided to become a guarantor of the pension plan. So as guarantor, the board is liable for, this is only if the plan were to dissolve, but liable for the unfunded liabilities of the pension plan. So something that is important to note as we go through the next few slides. And then back in 2022, some of you were on the board at this time, the board saw and defined further their role as a guarantor in an agreement in 2022, outlining a few additional items. So that's a high-level history. Again, my predecessor was there for a lot of that, and he actually, we were very lucky that he sat on the pension committee for 6 months beyond his time leaving us. So we had that really great time to transition some knowledge, which was really helpful, and we're very appreciative of Ed Oliphant for doing that. I took over on the committee actually just 6 months ago, so I was learning all of this relatively recently too. So very interesting history. All right, so the pension plan is guaranteed by the MTA board. So we provide you annually an update to show you the health of the plan. You do not actually have any fiduciary responsibility beyond that, beyond the unfunded liabilities if the plan were to terminate. Now, interesting to note that the committee members actually do have a personal liability. So myself and Vince Malone are actually personally liable for the plan. The plan is overseen by a pension committee. So the management include myself and Vince Malone. And I think we have a member here. Hi, Tracy. There's Tracy, who's one of our ATU members. We have another ATU member on the 4-person pension committee. We meet quarterly. And that's held at the Regions Bank, who has actually been our trustee pretty much the entire history of the pension plan. Our plan is annually reviewed by our auditors, Crossland, who are actually MTA's auditors as well. And we also have an annual evaluation performed by our actuaries, which are Buck Actuaries out of Atlanta. We have a defined benefits plan structure. Our full-time employees are required to join after 90 days, and they vest after 7 years. They are required to contribute 4.5% of pay. We do a calculation for eligibility of retirement based on the rule of 84. So that looks at a combination of the age of the employee and years of experience, or years of service, sorry, to the company, or if they reach the age of 65, but they must be fully vested at 7 years. There's also an option to retire early. We don't see that happen very often, but you can retire early at the age of 55 with a significantly reduced pension benefit. So looking at the health of the plan today, we'll report on the audit that was just completed, looking at the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. We had, again, no findings and no significant deficiencies, just like last year. And as part of that annual audit, Buck Actuaries performed a valuation of the plan to help us understand what our minimum percentage contribution needs to be to keep that plan in a healthy state. And so looking at the plan as of June 30th, 2024, our total assets were $79.1 million. Our total liabilities were $92.7 million. So that means the plan was funded a little over 85% in that audit. Our unfunded liabilities, which, reminder, is what MTA would be liable for if the unlikely event the plan is terminated, would be about $13.6 million. So now we'll go into some graphics to help illustrate what I just talked through. So in 2024, in that audit, we had a little over 1,100 participants, including our active employees. So that's not all of our employees today, but those who have fully vested 7 years and beyond. So a little over 300. We have our retirees, 718, and then we have these terminated and deferred employees as well. There's various reasons why you would potentially be eligible for benefits if you were a terminated or deferred employee. So that's that smaller chunk in the middle. Our plan assets as of 2024, as I mentioned, were $79.1 million. You can see historically, we have seen very healthy growth in the plan. And, Vince and I and Tracy have been sitting in on these meetings hearing really good news about the plan and how it's been performing over the past few months. So we're looking at, as of June of this year, a potential asset value of 88.1 million. So we're ticking up closer to that 90 million. And everything we're hearing from our trustee is that it continues to perform well with the market. Our unfunded liabilities, which again is what I think is most important for our board and the MTA, is you can see order of magnitude how that's changed over the years based on what was funded versus unfunded. So 13.6 million that I quoted is on the 2024 bar chart here. And that has varied widely based on performance in the marketplace. So you can see in 2021, when the market was performing extremely well, we were actually very significantly funded, and we only had a liability of $5.1 million. So it can really vary, and we are watching it quarterly as we meet. One thing my predecessor smartly did was he actually put in a budgeting tool where instead of taking the actuarial assumption of, okay, this year you have to provide this minimum and this year you have to provide that minimum, he said, no matter what, we're going to fund 8% as a straight line budgeting assumption, which is much easier for us, especially before we had a dedicated funding source, to budget for these needs on a year-to-year basis. So you can see over the past few years, we, based on our actuarial valuation, funded in 2019, 6.65% was our minimum, and we funded about 1.35% more based on our budgeting assumptions. And so each year that varied based on the actual actuarial valuation. And last year was actually pretty close, 7.2%, and then we had a small overfunding of 0.8, not overfunding, sorry, additional contribution of 0.8%. And something to note to you, in our most recent budget that was approved by this board, we went up to 9%, reflecting, the intent for us to continue to try to reach further to that goal, that ultimate goal of 100% funding of the plan. So here's our last graphical slide. You can see we continued a great trend of having the purple bar is your plan contribution. So that's a combination of both our contributions at MTA and our employee contributions. And that is far exceeding, for another year, that's exceeding our plan benefit payments. So that's a really good sign of the plan and how it's performing. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a couple. The audit of the plan that Crossland performs, is Crossland engaged by the plan to audit it, or is Crossland engaged by MTA to audit the plan?
Well, it's engaged by MTA, and the pension board also engages. Maybe a little bit of both, right?
The pension audit is commissioned by the pension trustee. So,
Okay. And that's to whom Crossland issues its report, and then the report is provided to us.
It really goes to the pension.
It goes to the pension committee.
To the pension board. Okay.
Let me see if I can help a little bit.
Okay.
So for years, there was never any report made to the board about what was going on with the pension. And then there came a time when the CEO was asked to file an amendment. This is the first time that he had ever had that happen. And he, I think wisely so, thought the board needed to know it was a guarantor on this pension. But the thing to remember is that it's a guarantor solely for the purpose for it to be determined to be a government plan. And because it's a government plan, we don't have to pay premiums to the pension benefit board, the federal government that protects pensions. And that could be about $600,000 to $700,000 or $800,000 a year, which would obviously deplete the pension plan. So it's really a key factor that MTA was a guarantor on this plan so that it would ultimately be a government plan, and we wouldn't have to pay those extra premiums to the pension benefit board. So what has happened is that we have this yearly review by the board so that, one, new board members can know that this is out there, that there is that unfunded liability, and so that you get an update on it. But this board has no fiduciary duty to this plan at all. It's all with the pension board that she's talking about with the 4 members. That's the fiduciary duty is with them. All this is just a report to tell you in the event that this pension plan was terminated, then what would the unfunded liability be? That is highly unlikely given the amount of the plan and the participants and everything that's with it, but it's still an information item that the staff believes that the board needs to understand what's going on with the pension.
And I thank you for that. And I appreciate the work of everyone who's on the pension board to ensure that the pension board is functioning the way it should, most importantly for our employees, but also for the fiduciaries that serve. The slide you showed, which was super interesting, of the changes in the shortfall that we would guarantee that. Do we MTA adjust our reserves annually to match the potential shortfall, or do we have a set number?
So historically, we have not, because we did not have a reserve to match. But I will say our new reserve now exceeds that amount.
Would cover it?
Yes.
Okay, with the dedicated funding, now
Over
we
twice
have.
as much as that, yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Great questions, Catherine. Any more questions for Amanda? Amanda, thank you so much for the report. And
The only thing I'd add is we do the detailed overview annually, but every month when you get your board materials, you'll see on the balance sheet and the financial statements, both the statement on the pension liability and also the other post-employment benefit liabilities for healthcare.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 6 action items before this committee, and we're going to kick it off with a few from Patrick Hester. Let us hear it. First up is MA-25-037, the Nestor parking lot rehabilitation.
Good afternoon, board chair and members of the board. I'm here to present 3 state of good repair projects, as Ms. Dolphin just alluded to, that would directly improve safety, accessibility, and operational functionality of our facilities here. So first is the Nestor parking lot rehabilitation, which is a project that directly improves the west side lots of Nestor. So you'll see before here on the slide that there's our employee parking lot. Half of it is gravel. If you can tell there, there is a drainage issues there, lighting issues, no security cameras, minor security, temporary guard shacks placed right now, temporary lighting on the lot. Our parking lot and our van cutaway access area is deteriorating due to just years of aging and needing to make permanent improvements. We also traverse the Nestor, I guess you'd say lot, through the building and around, so that there's a main drive that cuts through there that is deteriorating due to heavy bus traffic. So, and we also have some pedestrian issues that we want to take care of during this project as well. So to address some of these challenges, the Nestor parking lot rehabilitation, and you can see there what we're going to be doing, which is new lighting, new security cameras, access control gates, security posts, EV charging, ADA stalls, pathways, removal of railroad tracks or for safety and pedestrian to get rid of those issues, paving over the gravel, and of course asphalt and concrete improvements. And here's what it looks like, or what it will look like after we're done here. So we increased the capacity of the lot, which is needed due to our expansion with employees and vehicles fleet coming up, and improve those safety pedestrian improvements. And you can see right at the front is a new guardhouse location with arms and increased ADA parking. So that is the project scope in a nutshell. So on May of 16th of 2025, we issued an invitation to bid through OpenGov and Transit Talent, distributed over 60 different outlets there, firms. So by June 23rd, we received 2 bids, Jarrett Builders and BC Mason Group. And following the public bid open, BC Mason Group was determined to be the lowest and most responsive bidder, committing to 16.6% DBE goal for the project. So this project definitely strengthens one of our most active operational sites and supports service goals. So with that said, the staff recommends the board to authorize the chief executive officer to enter a contract with BC Mason Group for $1,556,535 for the Nestor parking lot rehabilitation project. And due to the nature of this project, which involves potential unknowns related to subsurface conditions, staff also requests to approve a 30% contingency of $466,960, bringing the total project budget to $2,023,500. This project is part of the capital plan under the State of Good Repair for Nestor improvements, utilizing FTA 5307, 5339 formula funds of state and local match contributions.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hester?
One. I know we've had meetings and we're working on security issues sort of across the agency. The new lighting, the new cameras, the security post, do those align with the issues that were identified in the security work we've been doing? Okay.
They do. They align with the Marine Tiger initiatives.
Okay, so this is going to help bring our parking lot up to the safety standards that we had wanted to learn about and meet through that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Perfect.
good question.
Thank you.
And those facilities will also accommodate, we supplemented the Archangel contracted security contract with additional staff at Nestor, as well as other facilities. So the guard shack and the other security facilities will support that staffing level.
Patrick, what type of unsuitables or surprises could we find with the under the ground surface conditions that would force us to use our contingency?
Well, Nestor is a lot of fill. And also within Nestor, we find that, it's just being that it's filled and it's just the subgrade is just bad. So we have to end up taking out quite a bit, digging out patches and compacting it back and building it back up. That's what you usually run into. And with what we have to put in infrastructure-wise for our electrical to run new poles, new security cameras, things of that nature, I imagine we're going to run into a little bit of that. The grading issues from the gravel lot down, it's about a foot drop. And right now it just has a small 11-foot asphalt ramp to address that. So it's really not suitable. So we're going to have some challenges there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Would any of the prior work that's been done on this surface, would any of those companies be liable for any additional repairs? Basically, are we still under warranty with any of that if you discovered it that would go against this contingency amount?
We'll have a 1-year warranty with the project, of course, and then we'll have a maintenance plan annual maintenance plan for the entire service, which will be a lot less in the capital plan.
Thank you.
There really hasn't been any recent prior work in this section. There's been work done on pavement on other sections around Nestor, more where the revenue fleet is parked, but this is new work for all intents and purposes.
Okay.
Since conception, since we've been there.
No underground tanks or water or sewage pipes to cause us any problems?
Not to our knowledge, but it's always a surprise.
Not
It's
to
always
our
Nestor.
knowledge. We have, as you well know from some of the prior presentations, we have had some subsidence issues.
The Nestor sewage saga. Yes, I'm familiar. Okie doke. Any further questions for Patrick? Madam Chair, I'm going to hand it back to you. I'm going to recuse myself from voting on this one. Okay.
That's great. So we all had an opportunity to hear the request from staff. Is anyone wishing to make a motion for approval of this item?
I would move that we approve item number MA 25037.
Second.
There's a motion second. Any further discussion? In that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 And let the record reflect that Ms. Dolphin is abstaining from the vote or recusing herself, whichever word is the most appropriate, Ms. Bell.
I do appreciate that.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you.
All right, Patrick, hang with us. You got a couple more to walk us through. Next up, the Nestor roof restoration, rehabilitation.
Yes, so we're going to stay right at Nestor with the roof rehabilitation, which is our second one today. And here's a overview of what our current roof system is now. So it is an essential state of good repair project to protect our most vital operating facility, maintenance and operations wise. The existing roof at Nestor has exceeded its useful life, is experiencing widespread deterioration. We've documented ponding water, seam failures, and damage due to water infiltration. So it compromises both the structural integrity and the long-term safety of the building. So this roof project is highly important and a high priority. We started the procurement process, and the pre-bid meeting was held, and multiple vendors came out and walked with us on a very hot day on top of the roof, and it was excruciating, but we got through it. After the invitation to bid was received, we had two responsive bidders, which is RSS Nashville and BC Mason Group Incorporated. After the valuation, RSS Nashville was identified as the lowest and most responsive bidder. We had a goal of 7%. They exceeded the goal with a commitment of 13%. As you see on the slide here, that the base bid is for an EPDM roof replacement, which is for sections A, C, D, and E. We have two alternates. Alternate one is to add on section B for an EPDM roof replacement. And so this roof is only 3 years away from being an end of life, and it is also seeing a lot of deterioration, so it makes sense to combine it with this project. In section C, this is structural decking and insulation, because if you remember back in March of 2021, we had some high winds that came through and ripped off this section. So the structural decking would be inspected, and that will be there in case we need to do more work to prepare for the design. So by addressing these roof conditions now and comprehensively, we avoid future failures and protect our infrastructure investment. So with that said, the staff recommends the board to authorize the chief executive officer to execute a contract with RSS Nashville Incorporated for the rehabilitation of the Nestor roof in the amount of $1,418,107. The agency also recommends acceptance of two contract alternates, $420,645 for an additional roof section B, and roof section C for $256,532 for structural engineering services, totaling $677,177. So in addition, the staff requests the board approval a 20% contingency of $419,000 to account for potential unforeseen conditions, establishing a total project budget of $2,514,284. This project is included in the capital plan that was part of the State of Good Repair initiatives for Nestor facility improvements and will be funded using FEMA and FTA sections 5307 and 5339 formula funds with required state and local matching contributions. Questions?
That sounds thorough, Patrick. I do have a question about, I think that we've talked a little bit about moving Nestor or whatever. How is this going to factor into that potential?
We all are having these discussions. Right?
I can touch on it, Jessica.
Thank you, Steve.
This project doesn't affect that conversation at all, because even if we were to move at lightning speed, you're 8 to 10 years away, and in the meantime, we need to run that facility. So, and actually, the timing of it was good, because Patrick alluded to the FEMA money in this. We did get, based on the derecho that took off a big chunk of Section C, we did get some FEMA money. So basically, this allows us to kind of extend the life of the roof out further.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's a great explanation.
Yeah, I would actually dovetail, because it's a great question, knowing, we're looking at the future of the facility. But we'll have more Nestor work coming, because Patrick alluded to it a number of times. This is our workhorse facility. So if we don't keep this in top shape, it kind of brings everything down.
Yeah, great.
So to help out after FEMA funds are reimbursed, the total project would be at $800,429. But we have to use those funds before summer or fall.
Patrick, a couple questions. How large is the building itself? How many square feet?
The roof square footage is 156,295 square feet.
Okay. And then same as before, what type of unforeseen conditions? I understand subsurface unforeseen with a roof. What kind of contingency could we have to use?
Yeah, typically you don't see a lot on a roof, but we're anticipating with a water intrusion, a lot of insulation replacement.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, I can't wait to take a tour of the new roof.
You're gonna get on top of it?
Just don't
or
get
you
me up
gonna-
there on a 100-degree day.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let Gail, Madam Chair, take it from here.
Okay.
I'm also going to recuse myself from voting on this one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Once again, we'll go back and see if there are any further questions for Mr. Hester. If not, if I can have a motion for approval of the recommendation of staff.
I would move that we approve item number MA 25038.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and I will let the record reflect that Ms. Dobbin has abstained and recused herself from this matter. With that
you.
being said, the motion carries.
All right. We're getting an updated parking lot, an updated roof. Sounds good. One more thing, but this is not at Nestor, as I understand it. You're looking at M-A-25-039, the Myatt employee parking lot rehabilitation.
Just going up the road a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit, a little bit.
Okay. So lastly, it is the Myatt employee parking lot rehabilitation to keep it in state of good repair. So the Myatt facility is key because it supports a lot of administrative functions for us, as well as maintenance and training and operations. But this parking lot too is deteriorating due to age and weather, whether it's cracking, pulling, striping, things of that nature that need to be just maintained. So the project really is asphalt resurfacing, seal coating and cracking, improved drainage, new pavement striping, and subgrade repairs is what this project is about. The layout has been configured also to increase stall capacity, which will both support operational and flexibility for future growth. So this is what it looks like when it's said and done. A lot like the original, but with more capacity and newly refreshed state of good repair, which is the goal of our program. So back in July of 2025, or June of 2025, an invitation to bid was put out and 4 responsive bids came in by the date of July 23rd. The lowest and most responsive bid came from Burns & Jones Construction. They did exceed the DBE goal of 10.4% with a 10.75% commitment. So today we request that we authorize the Chief Executive Officer to enter into a contract with Burns & Jones Construction for $359,999 to rehabilitate the Nestor employee lot. Due to the nature of this project, specifically unknowns associated with subsurface conditions, the staff also requests the board to authorize a staff-directed contingency of 20% for $71,998 for a total authorized project budget of $431,988. This project is included in the board-adopted capital improvement plan under the state of good repair for Myatt improvements and will be funded using the FTA Section 5307 and 5339 formula funds with state and local match.
Great. Did we discuss at one point having this parking lot be a training parking lot for the buses?
That was done separately. That project was completed last year.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
It's just above, the training lot's just above what you're seeing in this slide.
Okay, great. I promise I'm paying attention. All right, any questions for Patrick about the Myatt rehabilitation?
the Nestor parking lot, the safety upgrades. Are there any safety needs with the Myatt parking lot? And if so, did we consider doing those or making those improvements at the same time as this parking lot rehabilitation?
This is our most secure location with security guard shack, cameras, things of that nature already embedded.
So we're already covered and sufficient on that front.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, thank you.
And it's right next door to an MNPD precinct.
That's a win.
I do have a question. It doesn't say the date of begin construction or rehabilitation.
Yeah, right after, we get board approval, the contract to go to Steve to sign, then we'll do a pre-construction meeting and schedule from there.
Okay. So in theory, all of these could be going on simultaneously?
We want to phase the work.
Okay. Okay.
And have enough manpower along with Debbie and Jubal's team to get the work done, so.
Great. Wonderful. Any more questions about the Myatt parking lot rehab? All right, seeing none, I'm going to pass it back to you, Madam Chair. I'm going to recuse myself from this one also.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I, no other questions or comments for Mr. Hester on the Myatt? If hearing none, if I can have a motion for approval of the staff recommendation.
I move to approve item number MA 25039.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And let the record reflect that Ms. Doppin has recused herself in this matter. Do you have it?
All right, thank you. Great. So much stuff going on. Let's see.
Thank you, Mr. Hester.
Yes,
That was a
thank
lot
you,
of work.
Patrick.
Good job. And I do have one question. Did you get up on the roof too? Did you walk it? In a suit? In a suit. Ah, the rubber soles didn't stick on your shoes, so you're good. Well, thank you for your commitment. Ooh.
Okay. So next up is Lydia Benda, who, by the way, is retiring. Her last day is tomorrow, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So, okay, this is a bittersweet moment. So M-A-25-040, the Murfreesboro Pike and Thompson Place Transit Stop Improvements. Lydia's going to walk us through that, and then she's got a recommendation. This is also an action item.
Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. So as part of Mayor O'Connell's Choose How You Move program, Public Transit will be upgrading over 200 transit stops. And we go through a process of determining which of those kind of bubble up to the top. And I would say that this particular stop has been at the top of the list for several years, so I'm very pleased that we are moving forward on it. When we are looking at that list of prioritizing which transit stops we tackle first, we look at quantitative data such as passenger boarding, NDOT's high injury network, wheelchair boardings, things like that, and qualitative data, looking at the surrounding area, transfer points, pedestrian access, and other observations for safety. So this intersection at Murfreesboro and East, I think I'm going to switch to the next slide. There we go. This intersection of Murfreesboro and East Thompson Lanes, Thompson Place, is a strategically important stop for us. It's a high boarding location with nearly 350 passengers a day. And it serves our busiest route, 55, the Murfreesboro Pike route, and it's a transfer point between the 55 and the 77 Thompson Wedgwood Crosstown bus, which has observed significant growth over the past year. So this location is also extremely complex, as it is a very busy intersection, lacking significant fundamental pedestrian infrastructure. And it's necessitated a highly complex project as we have looked at the design for this project. The design started in August of 2024, and now it's been completed. The project upgrades 3 transit stops on Murfreesboro Pike and Thompson Place intersection and adds ADA compliant sidewalks. So if you look at the slide, you can see the blue lines represent sidewalks that will be part of this project. The green indicates bus stop improvements on Murfreesboro Pike, and there's one on Thompson Place, you can kind of see. And then the red line indicates a bus-only right turn lane. So this will be our longest bus-only lane in Nashville to date. It's about 1,500 feet long, so between a quarter and a third of a mile. And it should save us about 2 to 4 minutes per trip. Approximately 100 buses go through the intersection daily. It will save 10,000 hours of time annually for passengers, and we have an estimated savings on bus travel time of about 1,000 hours, which would transfer into $140,000 annually. Let's see, we've had extensive coordination with our agency and NDOT and TDOT, Metro Water Services, to address some of the other issues. I forgot to point out, there's a lighter blue box that represents a box culvert, which we'll be installing so that we can put sidewalk. Right now, there's no sidewalk, and so people have to walk in the street in order to get around that tributary. So WeGo solicited funds from 4 different IDIQ on-call contractors, and bids were received from 3 of those in September 12th. The lowest responsive and responsible bidder was BC Mason Group at $1,229,879.12. Including a 25% contingency, the total construction cost is $1,537,348.90. The second lowest bid was $1.7 million. For comparison, the engineer's estimate provided by CDM Smith was approximately $2,059,000. Because the project's being funded entirely with state and local funding, there was not a specific target for DBE. However, the recommended firm is a DBE firm. That's BC Mason Group, registered with us as a DBE firm. So the recommendation is that the board would authorize the chief executive officer to award the construction task order for the Murfreesboro Pike and Thompson Place transit stop improvements to BC Mason Group for $1,229,879.12, plus a 25% contingency for a total of $1,537,348.90. The funding for the project will come from a combination of State Improve Act, Transit Investment Grant, and local sources.
Great. I'm so thrilled to see this. The longest bus-only lane in Nashville once it's finished, right?
Right now.
Right, yeah, that'd
yes.
be great.
We're hoping for more.
For now, it may be short-lived, but who knows?
The longest one Lydia is going to be involved in.
I want to come out for the ribbon cutting.
You're going to come back for the ribbon cutting.
Sure.
Awesome. Any other questions for Lydia?
Can I ask the sidewalk, so the blue sidewalk?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is there any sidewalk there now?
There is no sidewalk.
Wow. And is the blue sidewalk that will be part of this project, that is sufficient for this project specifically?
Right. We looked at, the pedestrian infrastructure is missing here.
Yeah.
And in order for people to access the transit stops that we're improving, people need to be able to have a safe way to do that on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So that's why we are installing sidewalks.
Which I love, and my curiosity, it's really more curiosity, but did we, I'm interested in, like, we ended
why
this.
we stopped it? Where we
Right.
did- Okay.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
articulating my question better
So
than I was.
yeah, the one on the right goes from our current stop to Phil Free Lane, and there's a school, I think, down Phil Free. And right now, there is an outbound transit stop. It's a mid-block that will go away once we improve these other stops. So that will help to improve the safety. I think that I'd have to look on Google Maps to tell you exactly what the sidewalk does on the north side of Phil Free.
That's very helpful, and I'm pro sidewalk.
Generally, Catherine, when Lydia or our group are looking at these projects, it's not just about like the pad for the stop and the shelter. It's look at the surrounding area and where people are trying to access. So, you know, and it's a great example of whether that be a school or a supermarket or something like that, just trying to make an ADA accessible path of travel from the stop to some of the major trip generators. And I would also highlight, Lydia touched on it, great partnership with NDOT and TDOT and Metro Water on advancing these projects. So, you know, I can remember Jessica and I having the conversation, why don't we put a bus shelter at every bus stop? I said, well, it's probably about a $500 million project. And it's not, the shelters are the easy part. A lot of these are, you know, and this is great evidence of that. These are major infrastructure projects.
Yeah, I can tell. It looks incredible, and it's hitting 3 of the 4 S's of Choose How You Move. The safety, sidewalks, and service.
Yes.
So kudos to all of you and your team. You're collaborating with NDOT and TDOT. It's just incredible to see. Any further questions for Ms. Benda?
Just a
There is
comment.
sidewalk. Okay, thank you.
I know you've been working like extremely hard on this for a substantial amount of time, so I just wanted to congratulate you on having it completed and having it being successfully drawn out and ready to go, and what a wonderful accomplishment. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Felix just informed me that the sidewalk from Phil Free North does exist.
Oh,
So here you go.
there you go. Nothing like a good team member. Huh?
All right. So I'm going to hand this back over to you, Madam Chair. I'm going to recuse myself from this one too.
Okay, so back on this again, what an exciting project, and we got walkable streets, we got some of everything. It's so multidimensional. Any other thoughts or comments? Hearing none, I'll request a motion for the Murfreesboro Pike and Thompson Place transit stop improvements.
I would move that we approve item number MA 25040.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing no request for further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And again, let the record reflect that Ms. Doppen has recused herself from this action item. All ayes, so there you go. We have transit stop improvements.
Welcome back.
The motion
Not only
carries.
that, we have transit stop improvements, sidewalks, a bus-only lane. We have 2 surface lot rehabilitations and a roof rehabilitation. We are making moves. Lydia's going to hang with us for one more. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Love that. So next up, and I will be able to vote on this one. Thank you. I'm so excited. I get to vote today. She's going to talk to us about eVision CO1 expanded consulting services M-A-25-041. Let's hear it, Lydia.
Yes, ma'am. So in May of 2024, the board approved another board item authorizing the chief executive officer to enter into different purchase agreements, different contracts exceeding $1.55 million for the implementation of the Oracle Unifier Project Controls project management system. The system will serve as the backbone of WEGO's capital project delivery, providing a centralized repository for scopes, schedules, budgets, documents, invoices, and communication. Tools for planning, scheduling, cost management, document control, and risk management, and advanced reporting to support timely project updates and required federal and state funding documentation. So we are a year and some months into this project, and as of this month, the software is in the stage environment and undergoing more configuration and testing. WEGO staff will need to migrate project data once we get the system up in the production level. We'll need to migrate project data into the capital plan and then start managing in that new system. We also are refining integrations with the Sage financial system. And so eVision has been our partner with helping us manage this project, helping us manage all of these contracts and this implementation project. And during the scope of work, the scope has expanded significantly. We went from 4 to 12 interfaces. We actually, through Choose How You Move, now we have a consulting project management firm, so we needed to accommodate that feature in the software. And there are just some organizational changes that we're going through as well. And so these changes have substantially increased the complexity of the project and requires additional coordination and oversight of integration with the contracts and with the vendors. So eVision requested a change order in the amount of $55,000 to extend their services through the end of this year. And the funding will be covered as follows. There was $34,060 from existing contingency that could be moved toward this change order. And then there's $24,000 remaining in the new funding that would require board approval. So if the board approves this change order request, it would ensure continued vendor coordination and integration oversight, user group support and training, and knowledge transfer and documentation for long-term sustainability. So the staff recommends that the board authorize the chief executive officer to approve eVision's change order for an amount not to exceed $24,000, including a 5% contingency. Funding for this project will come from the Federal Transit Administration Section 5307 formula funds with 10% state and 10% local matching funds.
Wow, I love it. Have you been able to get inside of the program yet? And
Yes, I've been the project manager for this project, working with eVision very closely. And so we are in the middle of software integration and often requires testing something and then retesting it, making sure it works and retesting it. So it's quite an iterative process, and it's taken longer than we had anticipated, especially with these changes in the scope.
can you tell me what it's like to work in that versus how you've been doing it for however long? What you think it's going to be like once it's finally completed?
I think once it's finally completed, it will be a change for our organization in a big positive way. Right now, we are managing things on individual spreadsheets all over the place. And so to have one place where everybody can look at the project data and see where the project is at is going to be a tremendous tool for the agency.
That's great. Any other questions for Lydia? Are you sure this is her last presentation before this board?
I will give you a little bit of a caveat because I am stepping away, so there's a transition period for new, very capable people to step up into taking care of this project. Most likely, we will be coming back to the board. We'll need to come back to the board for additional funding from some of the other contractors, Oracle in particular, because of the expanding scope that will be happening. But we're going to take some time to regroup and evaluate where we are at and to make sure that we don't have to come back to the board more than that.
I love the long-term vision. We are going to get so big and so awesome. We're going to have to come back to you at some point. That's awesome. It is my pleasure as the chair of the Operations and Finance Committee to make a motion to the board to approve staff recommendations as written on M-A-25-041.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further questions, any further comments? Hearing none, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well done.
Lydia, I'm
Thank
so
you very
proud.
much.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to say I got a text from someone that said they have actually fallen in the Myatt parking lot and skinned their knee. So they're really happy that we're going to be updating and rehabilitating that. So people are watching the stream. right? Thank you for watching. Tell all your friends. All right.
At least you're not on the roof.
All right.
Falling off things in this, you know, me a skin knee falling from the roof, too big thing.
Let's hold it together. We got one more action item here in the Operations and Finance Committee. It's been a long one. It's been a goodie.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got Nick in front of us. He's going to talk about M-A-25-042. On page 33, it is the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department MOU renewal.
All right. I feel like the guy that speaks at a conference after everybody's had lunch, so I'll try to make it quick. So, Chair Dolphin, Madam Chair, other members of the board, today I'll present the renewal of our Memorandum of Understanding with the Metro Nashville Police Department and their secondary employment unit, an agreement that plays a critical role in maintaining safety and security across our transit system. But just as a little bit of background, in 2017, we entered into a contract with MNPD to provide added security at the Elizabeth Duff Transit Center at Wego Central. These services are delivered through MNPD's secondary employment unit, which allows off-duty officers to accept overtime assignments while acting with the full authority of sworn officers. So the SEU management advertises these assignments to all eligible police officers and then schedules them on a first-come basis. Those who are scheduled are considered to be working in an on-duty status and are paid a flat rate through MNPD. So because they're paid a flat rate, we saw a significant reduction in the number of officers who volunteered for the program. At times, this left us with little to no presence from MNPD at the Elizabeth Duff Transit Center. So to address this, in July of 2023, we transitioned from that contract to a memorandum of understanding. And since making that change, officer participation has increased to nearly 80%. So for fiscal year 2026, we're seeking renewal of the MOU at a projected total cost of about $1.6 million. This includes approximately $988,000 for police officer hours, about $508,000 for sergeant and lieutenant hours, and about $131,000 for patrol vehicle hours. This does represent an increase from fiscal year 2025's budget of $1.37 million, but that increase is attributable to expanded coverage at the North Nashville Transit Center, as well as additional MNPD coverage at the Elizabeth Duff Transit Center. So those enhancements directly align with our commitment to ensuring the safety of our riders and the safety of our facilities. So I think it's also important to note that under Mayor Connell's Choose How You Move transit improvement program, MNPD is establishing a dedicated transit policing unit. This new unit will ultimately assume responsibilities for policing MNPD, for policing MTA services and facilities. Myself, members of our executive team are currently working with MNPD with assistance from our security consultant, Marine Tiger, and Metro Nashville's legal department to develop a formal MOU between the two entities that'll govern this new relationship. The Transit Policing Unit MOU will ultimately be brought to this board for consideration and adoption. Until then, until that Transit Policing Unit is fully staffed, the proposed MOU renewal before you today allows us to continue deploying secondary employment unit officers to really maintain a consistent security presence at our facilities. Those officers under this agreement also coordinate closely with MNPD's appointed transit liaison, Captain Brian Williams, to make sure that we are effective and efficient in oversight and integration. So in closing, the safety and security remain fundamental to our mission. Renewing this MOU allows us to continue providing a secure environment for our riders, our employees, as we also begin to transition toward the establishment of a dedicated policing unit. So with that, staff recommends that the board authorize the Chief Executive Officer to enter into an MOU with Metro Nashville Police Department Secondary Employment Unit in an amount not to exceed $1,628,016 to provide continued security presence at both the Elizabeth Duff Transit Center and the Rip Patton North Nashville Transit Center. Thank you, Chair Dolphin. That's my ask, and I'll take any questions if there are any.
Great. Thank you, Nick. What an outstanding report. I appreciate that. You're very thorough. Thank you for noting and explaining this is continuation until we get that more formal MOU with the official transit policing unit. So that was great, because that was going to be my question. So any other questions for Nick? I do have another one.
Sure.
What if you find that we'll need more secondary employment unit officers?
So the goal is that we will transition from needing secondary employment as we staff up with the policing unit. So we anticipate that contract will go away and those funds will be shifted over.
But this will see us through fiscal year 26.
Absolutely.
Okay. Very good, very good. It is my pleasure and honor to make a motion to approve M-A-25-042 as recommended by staff.
Second.
There's a motion and second, and I would echo Ms. Dolphin's comments. Great comprehensive report and safety first. And really incredible that we continue to grow this relationship with Metro. Police Department is very important and, of course, is essential.
Thank you.
So with that, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments?
I just want to say that it's really cool that we're also fulfilling more safety as far as the Choose How You Move Transportation Improvement Program. This is awesome. Yeah.
So no further comments. With that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Staff does have one more recommendation that's not on the agenda. That if the next time Chair Dolphin has 6 action items on her agenda, that she move the Chief Safety and Security Officer to the beginning of that agenda. All those in favor say aye. Approved. Thanks.
That would be a safe choice, right? Yes.
We're going to table that until next time, Nick. Thank you so much. What a bunch of really great reports and presentations. We're really moving forward with these projects for safety and service, and even sidewalks today. So that's incredible. And I also wanted to note that a lot of the folks who won today, these projects, are local firms, are they not? That's even better. Cherry on top. Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure to hand it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you so much. You know, we are safe and we are in a state of good repair. So this is it's a good Thursday afternoon. So now, Felix, I think you're up. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
I haven't seen you at the podium in a
I
bit.
know, it's been a minute.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be back. So if Nick is the speaker of the conference that is speaking after lunch, I'm the one keeping you from going sightseeing. So I'll try to be quick. This item is the adoption of our update to the Title VI program for MTA. And so we have been working on updating the document over the last several months. It's actually special thanks to Phil Randall with our staff. He's been doing the heavy lifting, and he'll answer any tough questions that you have. So the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, it prohibits the exclusion, discrimination, or denial of services based on race, color, or national origin in any programs that receive federal funding. The Federal Transit Administration provide guidance to transit agencies on how to comply with the Title VI regulations. So in the circular that they publish, it also requires transit agencies to adopt a Title VI program and update that at least every 3 years. And we definitely comply with the regulations from the circular, but I will add that besides this being a requirement, I think we consistently consider equity in everything that we do, even when we're not necessarily required to do it. So I think that's a good practice that we've been doing for the last several years. The current program was adopted by this board in 2022, so it's now due for an update. As a reminder, the goals of the program are to ensure that the level of quality and public transportation services is provided in a non-discriminatory manner, that we promote full and fair participation in public transportation decision-making without regard to race, color, or national origin, and that we ensure that meaningful access to our transit-related programs and activities by persons with limited English proficiency. So the program outlines several different parts. We did not include that in your packet. It's kind of lengthy, but we provided a link to it, to our website. But it basically provides specific service standards and policies, including what is a major service change and a policy for disparate impact and disproportionate burden for minority and low-income populations, if that was to be the case. It also provides a language assistance plan and a public participation plan. Now, the program also defines what is a major change, including any changes in fare is also a major change. For this version, we also updated it to include Wiggle Link. As we've been bringing Wiggle Link zones, we've been doing Title VI analysis on those, but it was not officially included in the Title VI plan, so we included that. So the creation, elimination of any Wiggle Link zone requires Title VI, and if we expand an existing boundary by more than 25%, we also do a Title VI analysis on that. Now, we use census demographic and socioeconomic data to understand the composition of the population here in Davidson County, in the service area, especially for those that are low income and minority. And now we supplement that with an onboard survey, origin destination, that we do every 5 years. By the time we had the plan in 2022, we did not have the results of the onboard survey that we conducted in 2022. It came later. But basically, that's a 10% sample of our ridership. So that gives us information specifically about our riders. And we ask questions from where did you get the bus? Where do you get off? How do you get to your destination? Where is your destination? But also we ask questions about demographics, race, ethnicity. We also ask about income, household cars available, and things like that gives us information that help us when we plan changes. Now, for this update, we saw some shifts in the demographics in Davidson County. The minority population grew from 35% to 46%. That's based on census data. And as far as the origin destination survey, the minority population grew from 55% in 2017 to 64% when we did it in 2022. We also observed some geographic specific shifts in that, and we saw an increase of these populations in the Antioch area, somewhat along Lebanon Pike, as well as limited English proficiency populations in Murfreesboro Pike, along Murfreesboro Pike and Madison. So these are areas where we have a lot of service to, so that's important. And we always do, the majority of non-English speaking population here is Spanish. It's the second most spoken language. That's another one that we ask, what is the language that they speak mostly at home. And we, any vital documentation, we translate, written documentation, we translate into Spanish. If anybody else needs another language, they can let us know, and we can make the arrangements. So the final draft for the program was published for a 21-day public review comment. We posted notices in English and Spanish papers. It was on the Wiggle website, and we released a media advisory, and we also put information on social media. And we had 2 public meetings. We did not really get a lot of really public comment on the plan, but we did have some meaningful conversations during some of those meetings about the challenges to reach out to riders and how we do allocate our buses to places where we have greater loads, and how do we rotate buses, so make sure that all the buses are being distributed equitably through the system. And those are things that we currently do. So the recommendation from staff for the board is to approve the 2025 update to the MTA Title VI program to be submitted to FTA. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Felix?
Yes. Sure. The numbers, the percentages that you just talked about, were those for riders only, or were those Davidson County-wide?
The first one, which I mentioned, that the 35 to 46, that is census data. For riders specifically, based on our OD survey, was 59% increased to 64%.
Okay. And those are minority?
Minority and low income, yes.
Okay. Great work, thank you. I happen to really agree with all of the updates and adding the weaker link zones and that was good.
Thank you. Yeah, we typically do a fairly good job, as we described on the public participation plan, on trying to make sure that we have, a bunch of different avenues to be able to reach different populations. It is a hard job because we cover such a big area in Davidson County as well. But we have staff available for complaints that is bilingual too, so that helps when reaching out. But we definitely strive to make sure that we comply with everything and go above and beyond.
That's great. You said that during your community out engagement, you had conversations about how to reach riders. Were there any good ideas that came out of those conversations?
Yeah, and some of those we already do. Basically, having a better presence when we do outreach at Central. Some of the challenges is people are usually on a rush. They're trying to get to the bus or trying to transfer. So, but if they have a little bit of time, that's a good way. We've also done, especially when we did the changes to the routes around North Nashville, we rode all the different routes. So staff sat on the bus and talked to riders. And that's usually a good way because they're captive audience. And as long as the stop is not coming up soon. But
you have them for a few minutes anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do remember back in the day, we had a survey every month from riders.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do too, right?
That's CETA's department.
But I really appreciate
Thank
the
you.
inclusivity and the fact that you go beyond what is required of you. And appreciate that very much. Any other questions, comments? If not that.
Motion to approve staff the recommendations by staff for Title VI program adoption.
Okay, there's a motion. There's a second.
Second.
And there is a second. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is adopted. Thank you very much. Okay. That was a busy time. Mr. Bland.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and afternoon, members of the board. I'll try to keep it fairly brief. A couple items to report. Following the successful launch of the first phase of our service expansion funded under Choose How You Move back in July, a lot of our planning, service development, operations, communications staff have been involved in planning for the next phase. Timely coming on the heels of Felix's report, we are currently engaged in the public engagement process for the proposed January service changes, because we're still awaiting delivery of expansion buses. Those proposed changes focus on off-peak improvements to several routes. Generally speaking, it's an expansion in our Sunday span of service to match our Monday through Saturday span on most of our routes, improvements in midday frequency on routes 3 and 52, an additional WeGo Link zone, which would bring us to 19 zones total, weekend and weekday evening frequency improvements on Route 7. Several in-person and virtual public meetings have been held to date. We've received a lot of good comments. We have an additional virtual public meeting scheduled on October 7th, and comments will also be accepted by mail, by email, submitting through the website through October 10th. Felix's staff will be doing the Title VI analysis on the changes, and we would expect to bring them to your October board meeting for approval to be implemented in January. In parallel fashion, Felix alluded to the fact that under Title VI, we review fare changes. We've been continuing to work, particularly Amanda, with the mayor's office, several social service agencies on the Journey Pass program, which is the income eligibility-based free pass program that Amanda briefed you on a month or so ago. Public comments also being accepted on that. We're running Title VI on that, and we're still on target to bring that to you in October as well. This year, we've been pleased to expand our community impact partnership with the Tennessee Titans. So starting last year, working with NDOT and Metro Nashville Police, our buses have had access to dedicated lanes on Woodland Street, adjacent to Nissan Stadium on game days, to facilitate access. as we did last year. As we done for a number of years, we operate the WeGo Star for all Titans home games. And the Titans are, again, this year underwriting free fare for the entire WeGo system in Davidson County on Sunday home game days. A new wrinkle for this year, we've added express service from both Bellevue and from Gallatin and Hendersonville into games on game days, and that's also been very well received. 2 home games so far, September 21st and September 28th. Just to give you a quick report out. Now we've got, I think, 3 weeks to make adjustments till we come back again. But essentially, we sold out the Star in both, carrying an average of 1,090 trips for those 2 games. Bellevue Express carried an average of 180 trips, and the Sumner County Express carried an average of 285 trips. And in general, our average Sunday ridership on those 2 days was up about 24% over average Sunday ridership. So it's been a tremendous partnership with the Titans now in its 2nd season. And they've reported that they're also getting really good feedback from fans on the service. So I would expect, based on even just word of mouth, that'll continue to grow. Glad to hear Mr. O'Connor talk about the 4th Avenue bus pilot. A number of our staff, but particularly Katie Freudberg, deserves credit for working closely with NDOT and Metro Nashville Police to pilot in recent weeks dedicated bus lanes on 4th Avenue through the downtown core on Friday and Saturday nights. Peter was not exaggerating when he talked. It can take us 40 minutes to get from one end of downtown to the other on a Friday or Saturday night. So good lessons being learned, some tweaks that are going to be done, but all in all, we think that it's going to work very well. I think I did see the social media post from the bus boys that did indicate that finally they were able to ride a bus more quickly through downtown than they could walk. So that's one small step for bus riders, one giant leap for Nashville. This past Saturday, we held our annual bus and maintenance rodeo, and as always, this is a really good family event, really good spirit of competition, but competition with fun. As I always say to the contestants, we'd way rather you hit an orange cone than a parked car or a pedestrian. So many cones were struck, but many more were also missed. So all in all, it was a positive event. Also, I'm always excited when we see people who haven't participated before. You're going to hear a lot of familiar names among the winners, but we had some first-time participants among newer employees who were really excited to be at the event. So without further ado, we can tell you in our bus maintenance competition, Martise Covington placed 4th, Pedro Ochoa placed 3rd, Francis Winston placed 2nd, and Troy Willis finished 1st. In our access van operations competition, Joyce Banks placed 3rd, Jerome Horton 2nd, and Scott Wallace was our 1st place winner. And then finally in the 40-foot bus competition, Jerome Horton placed 3rd, Scott Wallace placed 2nd, and Mark Johnson placed 1st. Our top winners will go on to compete later this month in Knoxville in the Tennessee Public Transportation Association statewide rodeo, and then ultimately next spring at the International Bus Rodeo that's held by the American Public Transportation Association. We would have had them here today, but A, it was just this past Saturday, so it was limited time, but B, it's always more fun to bring them, and I hope my peers around the state are watching after we kick serious butt in Knoxville, and they take home the hardware in Knoxville. So expect to see them here for your probably November meeting. Will be what we'll be shooting for. A lot of hardware. The big wheel, the big wrench have established permanent residency in Nashville. Our development staff and our finance staff have been working to prepare submissions for Metro's capital spending plan requests. Now capital is kind of following a parallel path that we do with our operating, and then we'll be submitting sort of a baseline capital request for our core. I think Patrick used the word about 12 times in his presentation, state of good repair projects, and then also our expansion projects encompassed with Choose How You Move funding. Several of us had the opportunity this month, actually last week, to attend the annual meeting of the American Public Transportation Association in Boston. Nashville continues to be the topic of national conversation regarding the success of the Choose How You Move ballot initiative. And I know I had a lot of conversations, I suspect folks like Debbie and Amanda did too, with folks who wanted to learn what's in the secret sauce there. There's a circular, there's a flyer at your table. I want to call attention to that to you, but also to anybody who might be watching. Apparently all of Jessica's fans watch this on cable access. But on Saturday, October 11th, between noon and 3, we'll be celebrating a community day at the Dr. Ernest Rip Patton Jr. North Nashville Transit Center. The artists who created the wonderful art will be up there to interact with folks to talk about the art. We'll have music, we'll have food trucks. The goal of this, when we engage with the community to even start the concepts of that center, was that it be more than just a bus transit center, that it be really a center of community pride and community activity. So I think this is a great example. I know this is a project of passion for Zeta Riggs, who I see in the back. So Zeta, thank you for all your leadership and your work on that. Kia Lewis, if Gabe Burgess is the mayor of Riverfront Station, Kia Lewis is the mayor of the North Nashville Transit Center. So please, we hope you'll join us coming out on that day for that event. On the RTA side, only thing I'll highlight is we're at about the 60% design stage for the Donaldson Station public improvements. So that should be wrapping up over the next few months. And we should be going out to bid for construction by the middle of next year. And that will include essentially transit center components there with 6 bus bays. Then finally, I will join everyone in the room. Her contributions, her talents have been lauded extensively today. But in congratulating and thanking Lydia Benda for her outstanding contributions, her service, her professionalism. We tried to counteroffer, but nobody beats grandchildren. I also noticed, you all did a great job paying attention while Amanda was going through some very dry pension material. But I noticed that Lydia was paying very close attention as she went through those materials. So, Lydia, are you satisfied that you're going to be okay? Okay. If not, talk to Amanda. That's really more her problem there. But the timing's never good. I mean, obviously we don't want her to go, but I thought it was really pretty remarkable that 2 things she will always be remembered for here were on the agenda at her last board meeting. Bus stop improvements. She knows more about stormwater management than I think probably Scott Potter might know a little bit more at Metro Water, but not many people in Nashville know more about stormwater management. But she really has stepped up our engineering game. And then with the project control project, really a recognition. I think it was Jessica who asked the question, how are we doing this now? It's pretty much like, green eye shades and columnar paper. So really to be able to undertake what we're in the process of undertaking, these systems are essential. That's been a passion of hers that she has really communicated throughout the organization. We had the opportunity to celebrate her with an open house the other day, and I think one of the testaments to people and the service they put in is awful lot of other community partners dropped by the Myatt facility, and as we all know, that is not an easy facility to get to. And then you got this parking lot that apparently isn't quite up to snuff yet to navigate. But we had a lot of folks from NDOT and other project partners come to wish Lydia well and to thank her for her participation. At that event, we gave her a little token, which we immediately grabbed back from her. So I'm going to end my report there and turn it over to Chair Gail Carr-Williams to finish out, and maybe you'll get your hardware back.
I don't know, but I think I'll make her wait a little bit. So she can sort of wonder, will she get it? Will she not? Will she not? You've given us so many gifts, Lydia. But before we get back to you, just want to say just a couple things that, today was a good day for infrastructure. Today was a good day to think about our future in terms of our state of good repair for our facilities. Without good facilities, then we don't have good transit. So I just want to say thank you all for all your hard work in doing that. And, when people leave, they got to make certain that they're going to be well afterwards. So thank you for the conversation about the pension. I think that's really important that we know and we understand. and that we're able to continue to build upon that great pension. That's part of the culture that we have here of how we take care of people. And we have to continue to make certain we do those kind of things. And also all about safety, and also all about accessibility, not accessibility to walk to a bus stop, accessibility to be safe when we get there, and accessibility to be able to make our drive a whole lot easier and a lot faster. So what exciting things to do. Titans, tighten up, please, soon. But anchor down, right? So
be careful. They are paying partners. Stop right there.
Anchor down. No, I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate. I love the Titans, but I appreciate the fact that so many of our Nashvillians are appreciating the partnership. I was going to get there, Steve. I really was. I was going to go there, but I wanted to cheer them on a little bit, and really talk about the love of this city for the Titans, that everybody is taking public transit and that they are a partner with us. So thank you, Titans, for that, but tighten up. And because the bus rides are important. Anywho, Lydia, you rock. It has been my honor and my privilege to be able to watch you grow, watch you work, and watch you really understand the infrastructure of our city to be able to make the infrastructure of our transit system one of the best in this nation. And you will be missed. Your grandchildren will be so happy to have you hang out with them. I just wonder if some of the daily field trips going to go take them to storm drains and take them on to different buses. Say, now, when you were just one, I decided that stop had to look like this, and this is what it used to look like. And so I hope you take great pride when you tell them those terrific stories about how you made our city better for so many and even for them. So thank you so much. So I know your hardware is here, so I want to make certain you get it. Come on, Lindsay. Come get it. And before I adjourn, is there anything else anybody else has for the good of the order today? Any new business? Oh, Margaret, any new business? We all good? Well, with that, I'll say that we are officially adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.